Hello, welcome, or welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz, and I will be guiding you on this journey today. This is a reading for Sagittarius, wherever Sagittarius is in your chart. And happy birthday to Sagittarius. I think today is Sunday the 23rd, and Sagittarius season started yesterday. So, yeah, happy birthday. I hope it's an amazing season for you. I know there's going to be a lot going on in Sagittarius. Like, I know Mars is in Sagittarius, the sun, obviously, Mercury will be in there eventually, Venus will be in there eventually. So, yeah, what a way to end the year. As you can see, we have three decks out here, I should say. We're kind of we're just trying something, YOLO. But I kind of splurged a little bit, and I got the Before Tarot, which is here on the left, and it's the moment before the events that are depicted on the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot. And then we have the After Tarot on the right here, which of course would be the moment after. And the idea here is that the Before Tarot is going to be the recent past. We have the Radiant Wise Tarot, which is your current energy. This is based on the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot. And then we have the After Tarot, which is the moment. Oh, I already said that, which is like the near future or potential outcome, what's next type of thing. And also, like something that I wanted to start with these readings and totally forgot until I did the Scorpio reading is I want to set an intention prior to doing these readings. And I do want to say it out loud. Like during the reading, I have an opening intention and I have a closing intention, which feels really effing weird to me to say. I mean, I wrote this, but it just like... It's one thing to say it in your head. It's another thing to say it out loud, but I'm glad that I'm saying it out loud because, I can make it more me or more something like something. But anyway, yeah. So is there anything else I wanted to say before? I don't think so. Okay, so let's set the intention and then we'll start shuffling cards. And then we'll start talking about those cards. Okay. Crown open to the quiet expanse, I anchor into the present and the truth within it. I welcome only what is clear, balanced, and aligned. All distractions, fear, and interference remain outside this space. May these messages travel to those who called for them, carrying honesty, clarity, and calm. All right, for Sagittarius, recent past. Wait, hang on. All right. Way too many cards. We really just want one. We'll maybe take two if two come out together, but for Sagittarius. Bro, why? Why are they falling on the floor? Ha. We have the Tower in the reverse. I laugh because the Tower is what flipped over in the deck when the cards fell on the floor. And I don't take the cards that flip in the deck. I just don't take them seriously. If there's a message, then they need to come all the way out of the deck. And I've had that one-on-one conversation with every deck. We have the Knight of Wands sideways. Near future. Five of Cups, Two of Pentacles. I think it's interesting. I think Mars is actually probably going to be helpful. I don't know how well Mars does in Sagittarius. I mean, I want to say it's maybe okay because maybe. I really don't know. But I was like, it's like fire, Aries, but I believe that it's also Scorpio. And of course, wherever Scorpio or bro, wherever Sagittarius is in your chart too, you would potentially feel the effects of all these, things that are going to be happening in Sagittarius at some point. So this is, the before tarot. So the tower hasn't been struck yet, right? There's still people in the tower. There's people walking up to the tower even. And in the Rider-Waite tarot, the tower's been struck by lightning. People are falling out of it. Chaos ensues, right? It's interesting because I'm literally, like, I'm sitting here trying to, like, find the words. They're in there. But, like, I have, for whatever reason, like, either a lot of hesitation in saying them out loud, or I just, like, I don't want to, which is a really weird sensation to have. I also even, like, I keep looking outside. I, like, picked up the book. It's almost like distraction as well. So it's interesting because I wonder if the way that the tower is presenting itself in your recent past, which, I mean, of course, can be anywhere from like 5 minutes ago to like months or years, whatever. It's the past nonetheless, but it's almost like, again, since those are the things that were coming up for me, avoiding something, like avoiding the truth of something, avoiding even the downfall or the collapse of something. And that something can be a behavior pattern, a thought pattern, a relationship, a job, whatever. It's something that is no longer serving you. And no doubt there's been like signs, or intuition around it, but maybe it's like either like not knowing what to replace it with, or not wanting to like expel or not expand. I feel like there's a word that's not expel. It's not expand. Whatever. Like not wanting to like put the effort or the energy into the thing, because maybe it's going to like cause you to have to go within that chaos to figure out what is the root of that chaos. Because like the Tower card, upright or reverse, is basically the same meaning. It's just like the upright is more of an external expression, like you would maybe recognize, just things kind of falling off, or taking care of themselves, like in your actual physical world. Reverse, it would be more of like an internal process, like recognizing that the way that you've approached things, the way that you are behaving, the way that you're acting, whatever it is maybe not in alignment anymore with your intuition, with your goals, with your ambitions. And it's like, it's again, the avoidance part of that would be not wanting to have to use the energy or the effort to like figure out why you are acting or why you are behaving in a certain way in order to change it. Because, I mean, I think, it's definitely possible to just be like, change your mind, right? And start acting differently, or picking up different habits, or shifting like motivations or whatever, right? But if you keep finding yourself back, like circling back to a way of being, a behavior, a pattern, right? Like all the things that I've probably already said 5 times. That's where awareness is key. Because if you have no idea what it is that's making you circle back around, it's almost like that bungee cord. Like, have you seen that? I don't know. I've really only seen like videos of it where you're in like one of those blow up things, but you're like attached to a bungee cord, and it's like, the person runs out as far as they can. And then, like the bungee cord, pulls them back, like that type of energy. Like if you have no clue what that bungee cord is, or even an inkling that there's a bungee cord attached to you, you can't unhook yourself from it. But also that bungee cord is probably going to have you in some feels, working through some shit, discovering some truths about yourself or whatever that you're going to have to dedicate energy to releasing. And maybe it's because we are talking Tower card. Maybe it's uncomfortable feelings. And I don't think Sagittarius likes to be in that place for very long. But if it's like a matter of figuring out what it is with the intention of releasing it, like cutting the bungee cord, right? Like, it's not permanent. It's not like, your whole personality is like going to change. And who knows if it would be uncomfortable or not. Well, okay. Like, who knows? But then I like look down and I'm like, we do have the 5 of Cups out here, which isn't necessarily uncomfortable, but it is feeling your feelings. And even, like my eye just went to the lightning strikes in the Tower card. It is like there is already a storm going on, and there has been a storm going on for a while. Like why do whatever it is, like why does this theme keep coming up? Well, it keeps coming up because like the energy or the timing, or you have information in order to see it from a different perspective, to release it, to, if you keep kind of just being fine with like starting over, right? Like I'm going back to that. Is it an analogy or metaphor or whatever it is of, being attached to a bungee cord, running out as fast as you can and then winding back, and you're like, well, I don't know what that was, but I guess I'll just start from here, like, but then you just keep doing that and you're like, I don't know why I keep winding up back here, but I don't know, I guess I'm here, I'll just start from here again and start running forward, right? But instead of being like, okay, what is the thing that is making me wind up back here? Like, what the hell, And then cutting the bungee cord, the metaphoric bungee cord. We have the Knight of Wands sideways. For me, this is a condition that I've come up with, like for my own, because I don't shuffle reversals into my decks, but of course, however they come out, we will honor that. But if the top of the card is on the right side, to me, it's working its way into the reverse. If the top of the card comes out on the left side, to me it's working its way into the upright. So for you guys, the top of the card came out on the right, so like the card is working its way into the reverse. And so wands, fire, right? It's your energy. The actions that you take, the motivation behind the actions that you take, creativity, passion, what actions are you taking towards those things? How are you communicating those things? I also see wands as being information by way of experience, because that's what we get by trying things. We figure out what works, what doesn't work, what do we like, what don't we like, what stays, what goes. And truly the only way to figure those things out is by trying. Even too, that, I'm talking about that bungee thing, like the continually, like just trying, running as far as you can. And maybe each time you've gotten a little bit further, but it's like, man, eventually though, that like the tension on that cord will just pull you back. I do feel though that you are going to, like, this is the time. And it is the time because you finally were like, okay, what is happening, right? And even like with the Knight of Wands being sideways, it's almost like really figuring out like, what is your motivation? Why are you taking the actions that you have? Like, has there been an intention behind the actions that you've taken? Because the Knight of Wands is almost kind of like impulsive. We can see that the horse is like already in action, right? It's like it's having the energy, having the passion, the desire to do something, confidence, even maybe a little like arrogance, because I think it's like at the Queen of Wands where you discover almost like the difference between confidence and arrogance, or even maybe just the balance between those two. Because I don't really think like arrogance is necessarily a bad thing. I think, obviously there's, it depends on your intention, right? It's interesting that intention keeps coming up in both of the readings that like I have done today. And maybe too, like it's just been where maybe you have felt like you have been intentional in the actions that you've taken, like adventures, like, the energy that you've been like putting into things, right? But maybe it's like the thing of your action around the intention has not been in alignment. Because intention is literally just a thought until you start putting action into it, right? And the actions around the intention can be a little out of whack if we're still kind of acting on like old thought patterns, old behavior patterns, old habits, right? And especially if it's like unconscious or subconscious, unconscious too, I guess. Like, if it's something that like you're just not aware of the reason why, or if the motivation behind the intention or the actions that you are taking is based on an old belief, an old way of being. The energy like in this reading is literally like to put that old shit to rest. That's the thing that keeps pulling you back, and maybe even like making you feel scattered. Like maybe, it's like, just kind of trying to like search for answers. And that could be the whole, like I was saying with wands about, like information by way of experience, right? Like just trying different things, like something will eventually stick, right? Like something will eventually click, for me. But it's hard to do that with that bungee cord attached. And then, like I said, right, like I do believe that in the near future, because of an awareness of this, having an awareness of that, but I'm just going to use the bungee cord because that's the thing that keeps like coming to mind. That's how it at least like feels to me in this reading. The Five of Cups, Two of Pentacles. Cups have to do with our emotions, how we feel about things, love, our relationship to love. How do we give it? But more importantly, how do we receive it? Because I think a lot of us are probably better at giving support, compassion, grace, than we are at receiving the same thing from other people. Pleasure too. I was actually like on a walk with my dog this morning, and I was listening to a book, and it was talking about pleasure. And the first thing that popped into my mind was cups for some reason. I think like I'm always kind of trying to even just like understand the energies of these cards like more, deeply. But pleasure, because I think pleasure is also, it's an emotional thing. Not necessarily just like intimate pleasure, but like things in your life that give you a sense of pleasure. How do you fill your own cup? What empties your cup? The fives are grief, release, depression, loss. It's interesting, there's these three cups here. Two cups are behind him. There's this person back here that's drowning. And this person's focus is on these three cups here. It almost, hang on. Okay. There's this big old fly. Good boys. Good boys. There was this big old fly that's been in here since last night. That was finally like by the back door, so I had to let it out. And then my dog thought, like he runs out there, like there's something going on out there. Anyway, but yeah, it's interesting that there's this person in the back that is like looking for help. I halfway wonder if the key here is going to be less focus on, less focus on like what hasn't worked. So, okay, let's just kind of work, because I keep looking at this figure in the back, and either this person is just too wrapped up in their own grief or like their own feelings that they just cannot hear the person in the background, or just don't have the capacity to help either. So the intention could be regaining the capacity to be like available for other people, because now I'm like looking at the Tower card. There's all these people. I'm looking at the Two of Pentacles, and there's people that are walking away onto like this boat. And if whatever is happening in this Tower card and the Knight of Wands being sideways, if the disconnect has been, like almost taking on too much responsibility of other people, or even like considering other people's perceptions of you or their feelings of you, Okay. I'm trying to work through like my thought process here, like what is going through my head. We have all these people walking up to this tower. There's, like this person up here is wearing a crown. There's another person here that's like watching these people walking up to the tower. So to me, it's like, are these people expecting something out of traveling to the tower? Like, has there been a lot of responsibility or expectation put on you, whether that was your own doing or, something from your childhood, like something in relationship, like whatever, work, whatever aspect of life, this would be for you. And it's like just because you maybe have the capacity doesn't mean that you should take on that responsibility. But and that could even be like the whole bungee, like trying to get ahead, trying to get in front of, but just kind of being pulled back in. Because like this figure back here, right? Like at first I was like, this person, because they are like almost kind of wrapped up like in their own grief or like their own shit, right? Like they cannot see that the person in the back needs their help. But then it's like in my head, it's changing to like, what is being shown to me is that letting other people not necessarily like fend for themselves, but you need to focus on what is stopping you, like what is pulling you back. And it's almost like this person, like saving them or focusing on them would be a distraction. And it would almost too like even prolong the grieving process. So it's literally, it's like you having to, because also too, like if you are used to being the adult for other people, right? Again, like intentions and boundaries. Boundaries are for you, right? They're not necessarily for other people. They are for you. Other people benefit from a lack of boundaries, or they benefit from your lack of boundaries is more like what I meant to say. But and even like I was saying about like having to like feel your feelings or like really kind of hone into what that bungee cord is. That could be what's in these 3 cups. But the 2 cups behind them is almost like that, the light at the end of the tunnel. Because like I said, right, like it's not an energy that you would be in forever, but it is like how grief is imperative to healing. To feel the loss, the heartbreak, the, whatever, so that you can move through it, to get past it, to get to a point of acceptance, right? So it really is like the feeling that I'm getting from this card is that like really focus in on, and it's almost too like don't allow yourself to be distracted by somebody, whoever it would be. I don't know, it could even just be a part of your brain that wants to like get out of the discomfort. It's kind of, I want to say like forcing yourself to stay with it, because again, right, like this is the opportunity to really fully and finally cut the bungee cord so that you're not back to square one again. And maybe in the past, right? Like while being in this energy, it would be almost like a relief to have somebody that needs your help. Like, oh, thank fuck. You know, like I can take a break from thinking about this, being in this, whatever, you know, but then that bungee cord pulls you right back. The Two of Pentacles is about balance. And then again, right, like we can see that these figures are walking towards this ship. You know, these could be people from your past, like where those beliefs, where the behaviors, why you do the things you do. Like, you know, this could be like those quote unquote ghosts that leave. And then here, restoring balance. Because I don't know if these are like actual physical people. I mean, it can be, you know, if there are a lot of people that rely on you. But again, it could just be the stories, our beliefs, you know, ego type of thing. Let's see what's at the bottom of the deck. And if you're still here, thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you haven't done so already, I would absolutely love it if you subscribed to the channel. Of course, it helps me grow. It helps YouTube kick these videos out so that more people see them. And, you know, like the video, share it, save it. Even if you unsave it right away. I mean, I think it still counts as engagement. But it's just, you know, free ways for you to support me and the channel. And I do really appreciate it. We have the Five of Wands, the Four of Pentacles, and the Hanged Man. Bro. Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is just kind of like confirming everything that I just kind of said towards the end of that. Like the Five of Wands here, these two people are kind of like in conflict, I guess. And then there's these three other people that are like running up. The Five of Wands does talk about conflict and competition. And the fact that there are all these people, and again, all these people were walking up to the Tower card. It's almost kind of like, it's almost like the image that I literally just got in my head is like opening your door and a bunch of flies coming in. They're like, oh, sweet. Opportunity, you know, but they're just like a nuisance, you know, you're like, motherfucker. That's not what I was intending to do, you know? That's like just kind of how it feels. And especially with it being on top of the Tower card, not to mention we have two fives out here. Fives are transitionary energies. Also, you know, like the Five of Wands talks about conditioning and training. Like if you have been in an extended period of time where, you know, like you have had to be the adult or you've had to carry a lot of responsibility, and it almost is just like something that just kind of keeps piling on. That could be the reason for the Tower moment. And even like recognizing that the Four of Pentacles is about holding on to things too tight. We can see that there's a pentacle at their crown. They're holding one at their heart, and they have one under their feet. Pentacles have to do with, sorry, hang on. Pentacles have to do with our money, how we get it, how we save it, how we spend it. It's our time and our physical energy. Where are we investing, or where are we spending our time? We usually use that also in exchange for money, your physical body and your health. Literally anything tangible, anything that you can touch, anything that you place worth and value on. So it's almost like even trying to like really hold on to a way of being, because I mean, like, look how tight they are. Even to like honing down, or honing into, like, something about, what is the word that I'm looking for? It's not like honing down. Like it's like getting rid of like extra stuff and really just simplifying into like the things that you need the most. It could be budgeting. It could also even be being a bit too stringent with your money to where like you won't invest in yourself. Or this is like the beginning of the scarcity mindset that happens in the Five of Pentacles. And by like holding on too tightly, or again, like being too rigid, it does create like a sense of scarcity, whether that is with your money, whether that is with your health, like with your job, your worth, like whatever it is. It's like one of those things of like maybe thinking that the discipline is helping you, but really it's creating scarcity or lack, or it's like heading in that direction, but really like you're trying to achieve control type of thing, but it's not doing that. And then we have the Hanged Man in the near future. And what I love about the Hanged Man is this figure that's giving them water, right? Because like these people on on the Five of Cups, the Two of Pentacles, even over here on the Tower and the Five of Wands, it's like they have depleted. They have almost like taken, but they didn't want to give, right? And you were giving freely, and maybe you had an expectation that eventually you would receive either from them or somebody else, right? And then that bungee cord snaps you back. But in this card, in the Hanged Man, we have this person here that is helping the Hanged Man. It's, for one, your ability to receive help. For two, it's somebody who is in alignment, who has the capacity to help you. Whatever that person would represent, whether it's a real person, whatever. The Hanged Man talks about suspension and delay, seeing things from a different perspective. There's also an enlightenment quality we can see, around their head, right? The halo or, light burst there. So truly, it's like, when you start to feel like you are in a period of limbo, that's where the magic is going to start happening. If you're in limbo, you are exactly where you need to be. Your needs are going to be met, so don't worry about that. We can see that on the Hanged Man. Your needs are going to be met, so don't worry about that. And again, like by allowing yourself to shift your perspective, like literally they're hanging upside down because it shifts your whole perspective of life, right? So it's an internal process, but also an external process. Maybe if it is accessible to you and if you can do it safely, maybe headstands like against a wall, would be a good practice for you. Again, please be careful, be safe, don't do anything crazy. But even maybe too, like laying on the edge of your bed and like letting your head hang off the edge of your bed, like because that's kind of basically like being upside down. But seeing things from a different perspective, it also even like the blood flow in your body is different, you know? Feeling that. Beautiful. Also, last thing I'll say, you know, like with this hanged man, is that it may not be a fast process. And what's the rush anyway? I mean, the rush would be to get through any type of uncomfortable feelings. But if this is the opportunity to really release this pattern, then why rush through it, you know? Beautiful. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. And I close this space with gratitude and ease. All energies are released, returning to the rightful paths. May what was received be integrated with clarity and peace. Bye.